What's up, guys? It's Eli here with Night Jiu-Jitsu, and I've got some side control escapes. It's something I put a lot of material on, including a BJJ Fanatics instructional I have all over bottom side escapes and attacks from bottom side. At least 2 of these are not going to be on that, I don't think. And these are really helpful ones that are kind of late stage. They're really kind of tricky for the person on top to kind of take inventory of what you're doing whenever you're doing it. So I want to kind of categorize these 2, and I also want to chain together a little bit of a strategy with them. So anyway, here they are. First one, we're just going to start with Ghost Escape. This one is not the wildest, most exotic one, but I've got a couple details that I think are very helpful for the Ghost Escape. Once you get here, the temptation a lot of the time is to lose your frames, right? And it's not the end of the world if you do on the Ghost Escape, because you can still make it happen. But I would at least like to have this frame in by his hip if possible, right? This arm over here, people are often tempted to go here, and I've even shown it this way in the past, and it's not wrong, it's just you're flirting with a little bit of danger. So instead, I'm going to keep it over here, and I'm going to clamp down on his arm. He's giving me some good cross-face pressure, so what I'm going to do is cross-face him back from bottom. I'm going to take my bicep against his face, not against his neck. He's too strong there, against his face. I'm going to bridge into him nice and hard. And once I'm bridging, this hand from the hip is going to snake under to this side of the body, right? So it slips under here. Now, as I come back down, I'm cutting hard, right? If the steering wheel was turning to the right first, it's going to turn hard to the left when I come down. So as I come down and I turn hard to the left this way, that's going to escape me out from the back. Now it's a matter of getting up. How do I go to get up? First, I want to try to get my elbow to the floor on this side and inside here and not keep it up. This hand is going to reach over to his head, and I'm going to pull myself up behind his shoulder. From here, I could possibly create a scramble, go into the front headlock series or whatever, but since I'm already at this angle, if I can pull his head to his shoulder, this hand here can now snake through, I can shoot, and I can get that darce. Now, here's a key detail on the darce. I'm not gonna fall back down on my own. If I go here and I fall back down, and Mike gets his elbow to the other side of my body here, then the choke is gone. However, if we get here and he pushes into me, he's actually just gonna make the choke tighter. The reason for that is because if I fall down, his elbow doesn't have to move. So whenever I fall down to the side, he can just take it across my body. If, however, he pushes into me, he's taking his shoulder outside of his elbow, so he's actually gonna tighten the choke that way. So that's a key detail whenever I'm doing the ghost into that darce choke at the very end of it. It's about the angles and everything, so I don't just flop onto my back and give him side control or north-south back. So anyway, that's some good details about the ghost that were very helpful for me over the years. So there's a couple different ones that I like a lot from like late stage, where he is, not only has he beaten my frames, but he's also sprawling one of his hips to the floor. So for me to be able to replace is gonna be difficult because I don't have my frame here, I don't have my frame here, and his hip is sprawled, so there's no space to get underneath right there. I don't want to necessarily put myself here as a primary escape because that would be stupid. But what I can do from here is I want to take this leg and I want to step back. My hips stay oriented this way. I'm going to step back to the inside of his leg. Now, once my foot is there, I'm not changing the orientation of my hips too much, but I'm going to step this one back because I know I kept his knee where it was. I'm going to step this leg back and get a butterfly hook. Now, my hips are facing the wrong way, obviously. But if I extend my legs and rotate myself to where I'm shrimping to face him, and then even if I don't have my frames, I can push off of his hip and his shoulder and extend to make that space. So what's happened here, set up for just 1 second if you would, I've got this little X frame up on his thigh with my feet like this. From there, it's easy to come back, replace my butterfly guard, or if he's still trying to hang on, maybe even start to step over and attack his arm or all this kind of stuff, right? But the main thing is that I created separation between his hip and my hip to allow me to get my butterfly hook inside and then create space to create a scramble or replace my guard. One more time on this one. He's got me really in a precarious kind of side control here, pushing away. My frames are gone. His leg is sprawled. I'm gonna kick back and try to find that leg here. It's just more monitoring than it is trapping. But now this one snakes underneath and I got my shoelaces against his quad. And then from there, now I'm gonna push away and extend my legs, turn my hips to face this direction, this way, right? And from that position here, I can keep my X frame on the leg or start to come up and attack the upper body, right? A different situation is where he's cutting off that space. Maybe he's already killed my frames, but he's using his knee to keep the space closed this time. So what this is gonna look like here is Mike has a very tight space here like this. Now, what he's doing, that's a good job. I can't get my knee inside right? I would have to shrimp out. His elbow here being tight and sticky to the floor is what's making that difficult for me to be able to shrimp out right now, right? Like that. So I'm gonna use, instead of my knee here, I'm gonna try to get my foot inside, which is difficult to do if I just lie here like this. But if I cross my legs here and get this one nice and far down my thigh, like this, and then I take this foot out, now I use that to help shrimp me. And then I'm gonna act like I'm gonna knee him in the ribs with my right knee. What that will do is get my foot underneath his body, right? So now with my foot underneath his body, now I'm gonna push him away and extend my left leg here, this way, right? Again, creates a ton of space, and I'm back here to some kind of modification of butterfly guard. I can start to sit up, look for my sweep, whatever. But that's another really helpful one here. I believe they call this Jailbreak in the 10 planet system if you need some nomenclature for it. But essentially what's happening, whether I have my frames or not, I'm crossing my legs, I'm taking this foot here to shrimp, to change the angle. I'm bringing my knee up nice and high so it gets this foot underneath his body. From there, I'm gonna place my heel on the floor, I'm gonna shrimp away, and then I get my knees back inside. So whereas I wouldn't probably recommend any of these as primary escapes, it's nice to have these. If you lose a frame here or there, if you lose a hip position, it's good to have these late stage kind of escapes or these Hail Mary kind of escapes to have in your back pocket, so that if your primaries don't quite work out, you still have kind of a fail safe to fall back on. Doesn't really work the other way around, whereas I don't want to go to my late stage first and then try to backtrack to my early stage. That's not going to be the right strategy. Anyway, let me know what you think about these in the comments. If you have some other ones or special conditions where you're running into side control and these don't help you out with that, let me know about that too, so maybe I can address that in a future video. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for watching Night Jiu-Jitsu channel.